Hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf Collectibles. Well, we've got a set here from Bachmann. This is the John Bull set. Now, I bought this on holiday in Spain. There was a toy shop in Figueras, and I saw this on the shelf. And indeed, it's got a little sticker here in Spanish. A good few years ago, and yeah, I brought this back from Spain with me. Lovely little set. I mean, fantastic detailed loco in here, and obviously a very early period loco as well. So sort of ties in with the things that Hornby are doing at the moment with the Era 1 stuff. So I thought we'd have a look at the set, see what's inside, have a look at the loco, give it a run round the track. The loco itself resides in the Smithsonian now, but has been steamed in the last 20 years, which makes this the oldest operational steam engine in the world as well. So there's a lot of, when I was doing the research for this, there's a lot of things I found out about the John Bull that I didn't know. So yeah, I'll share those with you as well. So let's take this over to the bench as always, and so I can film from above, and let's see what's inside the box. Right, let's have a look what we've got here. So on the front of the box, quite a nice picture of the loco in the middle here, and it says at the bottom, the John Bull, complete ready to run HO locomotive, or HO scale, replica of one of America's earliest steam trains. And I mentioned in the introduction the Spanish sticker at the top here, because I did buy it in Spain. Now my Spanish isn't very good, but it's something about import, and it says something about for 8 years. So yeah, not to be used by anybody under 8 years. And it does actually say that on the box on the end here. 8 years plus. On the sides of the box, I won't go all the way around, but you get a nice silhouette of the train, as you can see. And then on the back of the box, it just tells you what's in here. Again, a silhouette of the train along the top here. Ready to run electric train set. Comes complete with, obviously, the train, 3 carriages. It says a skew wound motor, finely detailed parts, nickel silver wheels, and then snap fit nickel silver easy track, or EZ track, easy track, the Bachmann system. So basically these clip together, and it's, you know, quite easy to put together, but it doesn't look all that great. And also the Bachmann controller as well. And then just turning the box back over, I'm just going to open up the flap here, so we get the loco nicely presented when you lift up the lid. And then on the top of the lid here is a little bit of information about the John Bull. I'm going to go through all this later in the video, but basically it talks about it being made by Robert Stevenson in Newcastle and then being shipped over to the States. It's sort of serviced through the decades on the line over there, and then down here to celebrate the John Bull's 150th anniversary in 1981, basically the Smithsonian steamed it. So this makes it the world's oldest operational locomotive, and hence the John Bull, a model of the world's oldest operational locomotive. So anyway, let's get inside and let's have a look at the detail on the model. Right, let's do the paperwork first. So what do we get in here? So this does look like, yes, it is I mean, it's an American release set. You've got limited life warranty. That's your warranty card with details of your service ports in Philadelphia. Instructions, so lubrication points, and then on the back here, the assembly of the loco. Interesting to see, this is actually got the motor in the tender. We'll see that in a minute. And we've got a list of contents, so locomotive, passenger coaches, and the track, and power pack. And it's interesting here, this says 2003. Now I thought this was 1990 set, so maybe it was a little bit later than that, probably 2003, because this is a send off of this catalogue of that year, and it's got 2003 just there on the bottom of the catalogue. So there's my first clue to how old this set is. I thought it was around about 1999, maybe 1998, but yeah, 2003 this set came out, so it's a 20-year-old set. And a registration card here for Bachmann, and then some information about the easy track system and how to clip it all together and make it work. Now my personal feeling is the track's pretty nasty. You can see it kind of got these massive clips on the end and clips together on this grey base. I'm not a big fan of it. Obviously it makes it easy to put together, but yeah, I'm still not a big fan of it. And over the back here you've got the power track where you can put the power in, and I'll just show you these going together. You see how easy it is. These two line up and it's just a case of pushing it together and it's done. So, you know, certainly if you've got a problem with your eyesight, this is ideal, but yeah, I'm just not a big fan of it. Right, I won't get the power pack out, and I won't get the controller out. I think everybody's familiar with those. Obviously get some leads that go from the controller into the track, but let's get on to the most important part, which is the loco. Very, very nice. Let me get that tender out. Yeah, so the definitely the motor is mounted in the tender, and feel the weight of it in there. But let's go around the loco first of all. Well, I guess the first thing to say is it's probably not quite to the same level of detail as Hornby's latest releases, the Lion and the Rocket, but still very good nevertheless. I mean, this is a 20-year-old loco. Now, almost all of these other parts, these are all separately fitted, and you can see, hopefully the camera's picking it up, these separately fitted grab wires down the side here. You've got separate piping around it, separate bell. Do like this front lamp with the glass in there. Looks really, really good. It's got the glass mounted into the lamp. I guess if you wanted to, you may be able to get a wire up to that and put a light in it if you so wished. On the front here, you can see a little spring to make sure these wheels stay on the track, and you know, make sure it tracks around nicely. Love the wood on the boiler. Detail wood moulding on the boiler there, and the wood colour, and the banding, the paint on it is so well done. Really, really is good. I can only think that they're separately fitted to get it to that level. And then obviously on the back there you can see the regulator. Hopefully the camera's picking up on this, but we will do some detailed shots of it in a minute. But yeah, really nice little loco there. And as I say, for a 20-year-old loco as well, that's very, very good. Now, that's free running. There's no motor or anything in there. One thing to say is the conrods. I think these are supposed to be the conrods through here. They're not mounted to the wheels, so unlike Lion, they're not going round together. It's just a separate piece fitted onto the frames there. So, but that's a small price to pay. And then this is the tender, and on here you can obviously well, it's very, very heavy, so I can feel the motors inside, and you can see, I should think this is the same mechanism that they use on their Gandhi Dancer. But yeah, the detailing on here as well. I love the wood grain on the side, obviously painted in green, but you can see the grain's been moulded in, and we've got this sort of I don't know what you call it on top. This top of the caboose on the top here. Separately fitted grab rails on the back there, and seating plates, and all in all, very, very nice looking loco. Yeah, very nice. Right, let's lift the coaches out. Try not to break them. So, pulled by a mounted drawbar, you can see here, and obviously we've got the grab rails on either end. It's quite a nice touch. They are glazed. I can see the reflection coming through on the windows, so it's very nice detailing on there, and really pristine finish. I mean, it's not really a lot to say about them, but they do look very, very good. Very well done. Bogies look nice as well. You can see how they've been picked out in the colour there, and obviously with a representation of the brake shoes holding down either end. Yeah, they're going to look really good going around on the track. Let's just lift the others out and see if there's any differences. I think they're all the same. Yeah, pretty much all the same. And the final one. Yeah, all the same coaches. So quite nice, the panelling on the end, isn't it? You know, let's get that bit of out there. Yeah, nice panelling on the end. It sets off well with the grab rails and the steps. So, right, let me just do the weights of these. Just going to bring the scales into shot. I'll do the tender first, because obviously it's got the motor in. That's coming at 85 grams. The loco, very, very light, 22 grams. So the pair together, just over 100 grams, 108 grams there. So with the carriages, these are very, very lightweight, and obviously they would need to be for the tractive power of the loco. So 36 grams for these carriages each. So yeah, these are very, very lightweight, but I guess they have to be be pulled around by the small motor in here. And the one thing I would say is, if you can find a set of these, it doesn't necessarily have to have the loco in, but these would actually look not too bad being pulled around by the Lion, or indeed maybe even the Rocket model from Hornby. They can probably be adapted quite easily with slightly different connection bars, but anyway, what a lovely little loco. I'm actually going to investigate the other two that were in this series. I can't find any reference to them at the moment. I need to spend a bit of time on the internet and see what they were. Maybe somebody can fill in the details, but yeah, as I say, there's another 2 sets, railway sets, of locos from this period that were released in this series by Bachmann. So, right, let's get this onto the track, get some detailed shots, and yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about the John Ball loco. The John Ball was built in Newcastle, England, by Robert Stephenson and Company for the Camden and Amboy Railroad. Before it was shipped across the Atlantic Ocean, the locomotive was dismantled, which left the Camden and Amboy Railroad engineer Isaac Drips to reconstruct the locomotive without any drawings or instructions, as they had not been included in the shipment. The locomotive itself ran for the first time in September 1831. However, the railroad was yet to be complete, so the locomotive was placed into storage while horse-drawn cars served in the construction efforts until the end of 1833. The Camden and Amboy Railroad applied both numbers and names to their first locomotives, giving this engine the number 1 and officially naming it Stephen after Robert L. Stevens, the president of the railway. Crews began calling the loco the Old John Ball, a reference to an English cartoon by the same name. Eventually the formal name was shortened to just John Ball, and this name was used so widely that Stevens fell out of use. The John Ball was retired in 1866 and stored in Bordentown, New Jersey. And then in 1885 the Smithsonian Institute accepted the donation of the John Ball as the Institute's first large engineering artefact. The locomotive's first public exhibition at the Smithsonian occurred on December the 22nd, 1884, where it was displayed in the East Hall of the Arts and Industries building, and it remained there for 80 years. On the loco's 150th anniversary, and after a lot of checking and verification of the boiler, the locomotive operated under steam. This occurred on a branch line in Washington on the 15th of September 1981. And as such, this locomotive became the oldest operable steam locomotive in the world. It ran several times until 1991 and is now back to being a static exhibition at the Smithsonian. There was a replica of the locomotive built in 1940, and I was lucky enough to see this at the Strasbourg Railway Museum, and I've just put a couple of pictures in now. Right, let's see how this runs. Got a lot of control over it. Very nice. Back the other way. Yeah, works very well. Considering it's 20 years old and it's been sitting on a shelf, I did give it a little bit of an oil. It's just sticking there. Let's give that a little tap. There it goes again. Not quite enough power to get it moving. There it goes. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, I did give it a little bit of an oil beforehand, and it's yeah, it's still sticking. Maybe I probably need to give it a little bit of a run, trying to do really slow speed things straight out the box. Let it bed in a little. Yeah, I have to say it's not the most exciting loco to see running. I do prefer looking at Hornby's Lion. It just looks much more dynamic and kinetic model than this. The other thing I'd wanted to just point out, if I just come a little bit closer, is how the loco is attached onto the tender. Right on the back here there's this tiny little, I don't know if you can make it out, there's a little pin just on the back there that looks extremely vulnerable, and that's basically the same for the coaches as well, each of the coaches, and that just hooks over. And then in terms of the coaches, I'll show you on this rear one. Again, there's a drawbar and a little pin, moulded in pin that's hanging down, and I shouldn't think it would take a great deal to break that off. So I should be very, very careful with these, especially with the plastic being a little bit old. Now I'm going to apologise before I set this running. Obviously I don't have a layout that depicts Pennsylvania, certainly not that depicts Pennsylvania in the 1800s. So with a stretch of the imagination, pretend this is Newcastle before it got shipped over to the States. But I've been running around for a little while. It's a superb runner. I mean, it was a little bit sticky out of the box, but once it's been running for a while, it's absolutely fine. Hasn't come off the track at all. Really, really stable runner, so I'm quite pleased with that. But I just can't get past the fact that it's just not very kinetic. When you look at it, nothing's really moving. I know the wheels are going around, but you can't really see them going around. It just kind of goes past you. And I think it would have been good if if the conrods in here, I believe they're conrods, they were connected to the wheels just to give it some sort of dimension of motion on the model. Other than that, really superb. I love the detailing on it, and as I say, it's sat on a shelf for an awful long time, and I've not really had it out of the box in the last few years. So yeah, pleased to get it running, pleased to see it running, and yeah, quite a nice model to have in the collection. So yeah, really pleased with that. Anyway, if you enjoyed that one, please do give it a thumbs up, and as always, have a look on the channel. Lots of videos on there now, and if you can subscribe, you'd be doing me a really big favour. And I'm going to leave that one there and say thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.